Welcome to TSW After Darkside. Join us. It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Let's do it. Who is Rey?
Oh, I like that. I'm going to use that.
There you
Okay,
go.
welcome back to this Talk Star Wars special, which is going to focus on Rey, and we're against the clock because Stephen wants to go off and play.
So let's do quick introductions. You're special Mark, you're special Steve, and I'm special Rob, right?
If only we had Special K, we'd have the full set.
We would. This is true. We'd have the whole special bingo.
I do feel very special. All right, so the idea of this one is just to talk about Rey and kind of try and work out where she came from, because there's a lot of fuss at the moment about who Rey's parents are, and the bottom line is the big dollar question is she Luke's daughter? So I thought it might be a good idea just to go through some things. Now these notes that I've written all help shaped an article that I put out this week called Rey Star Wars Insights, Rey Child of the Force.
Oh, okay.
And I came up with a new theory. It's not a million miles removed from what we had before, but Steve, some of the comments you made last week really informed this because of your position on Luke and how Luke most likely wouldn't have gone to the dark side. So just to quickly frame that for everybody, my original theory was that Luke used the dark side of the Force to create Rey, the way we believe Plagueis used the dark side of the Force to create Anakin.
Yeah.
So I thought it might be interesting now to just quickly look at what we know for sure about Rey from The Force Awakens, because that's all we got to go on is just the facts in that film.
Yeah.
So what do we know about Rey from The Force Awakens?
So we know she was stranded on Jakku.
Yeah.
We don't know who by.
But they were coming back for her, or allegedly.
That's what she was led to believe.
Yeah.
Or was she? We don't know. She's kind of convinced herself of the fact, but we don't really know that for sure.
Well, until
we don't know that she was ever.
Matt says that they're never coming back for you.
Yeah,
or, was it Maz? I think it was Maz.
Yeah, but what I mean is, we're not ever told that she said, "Oh, they said they'd be back." She just keeps saying they'll be back one day.
Yeah, she may have convinced herself. Definitely afraid to leave Jakku in case she misses them.
Yes.
Which makes you think that when they left her there, they said, "We'll be back."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
So she was left there in maybe a protective way.
Could be.
Because they gave her the impression that they were coming back for her.
Yeah, maybe.
She's also reluctant to leave. She's reluctant to leave Jakku, even when she's forced to. In the escape from Nima Outpost with Finn, and then a rendezvous with Han and Chewie, and even when they get to Takodana, where she is with, is that right? Is it Takodana where she is with Maz, where Maz
he offers her a job?
Yeah, even when she's there, she's desperate to get back, just in case that's the moment her family chose to come back and get her. So we know that she's kind of locked in this purgatory on Jakku.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all we know for sure.
Well, I know that Leia was overly friendly with her for somebody she didn't know when she landed back after the end of the film.
But that could have been knowing. I mean, Leia has some Force sensitivity, so that could have just been she knows that Han's death hit Rey hard and just wanted to comfort her.
So that's the other thing we know for sure, isn't it? That she's got some Force ability. And she has. There's definitely a latent ability there that enables her to connect to the Force and use the Force. And Steve, you've pointed out in the past that chances are she's already using the Force on Jakku.
I mean, I would say huge Force ability, not
when she's scavenging.
Yeah.
I would say huge. I mean, she's stronger than Kylo Ren, isn't she? You know,
there's more than a little bit of Force going on in that escape from Nima Outpost when she's piloting the Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a kid that basically learnt how to fly from a simulator, we're led to believe, on Jakku. And now suddenly she's in this freighter doing all these barrel rolls and flying through the carcasses of ships. And then obviously we get the massive ramp up in her abilities after her interaction with Kylo. And he realises, and I think there's a lot to be taken from his reaction to Rey, Initially, I thought it was familiarity, like they crossed paths before.
Right.
But when you really watch this film, you know that he's probing her mind, and he sees Arc 2 in her mind. He sees the island where Luke is.
Yes.
And he doesn't take it literally that's where Luke is, but he realises that she's seen the map that led to Luke.
Yeah.
We'll circle back to the map in a minute.
Okay.
And then I think he certainly has a revelation about Rey and who she is, and that's when he runs to Snoke and says this girl's powerful, right?
Yeah.
So we know that he appreciates her abilities, and she starts to grow more into her abilities after she's had contact with Kylo. Now we've interpreted that as him unlocking something, haven't we?
Well, we also know that he already knows about her before all of that, because when Poe Dameron said, when the one of his lead executives says, and there was a girl, he goes nuts. So obviously he's already aware of her in some sense, or Snoke has already said, be on the lookout for a girl with force power, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of really pivotal, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is, and it's a great point you made. And I'm going to jump into that and say there's a chance that Kylo is making an association between two seemingly unrelated things.
Yeah.
So I'll try and be a little bit clearer. It's not just a coincidence that Lor San Tekka and the Church of the Force are on Jakku. It can't be. Why would it be? It's too convenient, neat and tidy that Lor San Tekka, somebody who's has a history with Luke. From the novelization, we know that he spent some time with Luke trying to find Jedi temples.
Yep.
He has the map to Luke, and he's established a colony. And it's Calvin Ravine on Jakku that he establishes this colony, the Church of the Force. That's too coincidental when Rey's just a stone's throw away. So this is at the heart of my new theory about Rey being a child of the Force.
Okay.
And I'll break it down in a nutshell because I know the clock's ticking. I would suggest... So what I'll do is I'll throw this out there and then you guys can kick it apart, okay?
All right.
I would suggest that when Luke and Lor San Tekka were doing their research trying to find the temples, Luke found the prophecy about the Chosen One.
Yeah.
About the one who will bring balance. Now, we know that's his dad.
Yeah.
But I believe that he learns that there will be another one.
Okay.
And I think that's Rey. So I think Luke knows that there's a prophecy of another child of the Force.
Okay.
Maybe no one creates these things at all. That the Force itself creates it. And then it's just like a rush to get to that child. If the Jedi get to that child, they can raise it in the light side. If the Sith get to that child, they can use it to shift the balance of power to the dark side.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That's where I start to think that Kylo or Ben Solo learnt a little bit about this from Luke when they were students, which would explain why Kylo realises maybe not who Rey is as a person, but Rey as in she is the chosen one, when he starts to feel out how powerful she is. Now, the way I've tied all this together is I'm thinking when Luke's school fell, there's no need to believe that Rey was there, that she was a part of that school, right?
Okay.
We see her there in her vision, but that doesn't mean that she's seeing it through her own eyes, because she sees stuff on Bespin that's nothing to do with her. She sees stuff on Starkiller, which takes place in the future. So there's no reason to believe that that's little Rey that we're seeing. When Luke's school fell, did Kylo give him a free pass and let him go? And is that what that slaughtering of the warrior is about? I've always interpreted that as Kylo stopping Rey being killed, but maybe he was letting Luke go.
Okay.
Luke runs into hiding, knowing that he needs to preserve his knowledge to pass on to the Chosen One when she's found.
Right.
And he gives Lor San Tekka the portion of the map that leads to him and says, find the child, and when you found the child, come and get me, because then I can train her. So he knows he's safely out of the way, so that all of his abilities are being taken care of. Meanwhile, Lord Santeca and the Church of the Force search for Rey. When they find Rey, somebody deposits her on Jakku, and that is when they set up the Church of the Force colony at Calvin Ravine, so that they can watch Rey from a distance and wait until she's at a point where she's ready to be trained. They can keep her safe, keep an eye on her and whatever you. And then the First Order finding Lord Santeca, because remember, they know who he is, Kylo, or at least Ben Solo knows him.
Absolutely.
So when they know that they've found Lord Santeca, they know that they've got a lead to finding Luke, but they don't know about Rey. That's when Lord Santeca decides to pull the trigger and get the map to Leia so that she can bring Luke out of hiding and hope that Rey gets to Luke in time for the Chosen One to be trained by Jedi.
Right. Okay.
All sounds feasible.
It's feasible. I mean, there's a couple of questions I'd ask then. So, I mean, I suppose in a way what we're doing is you're kind of postulating your theory and we have to pick it apart using questions of searing insight. So here's mine.
Break it.
Right. So if that's the case and the Church of the Force has been set up to find Rey and kind of base to sort of base themselves and then be ready to act in the event of First Order. One, why would they leave so much to chance about Rey in terms of, they give Poe Dameron the map and that's about it, and then they kind of leave the rest to chance? It doesn't seem right to me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, to address the first point you made, just to correct something, I think the Church of the Force existed before. It existed
I know that.
In the prequel times. So it was the colony on Calvin Ridge that was set up purely to watch Rey.
Yeah, I understand that.
In my theory. Now, maybe because by the time Lord Santeca gives Poe that thing, we're talking, the clock is down to minutes. So any effort he would have made to go and get Rey would have led the First Order to Rey. So at this point in time, I would argue they're probably best leaving her where she is because she's gone undiscovered.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
And then the entire colony are wiped out, even though Gloria and Anna Maria would like to believe that they didn't. Everybody was slaughtered, including Lord Santeca. So there was no one left. So she was left to her own devices then, Rey, and then it's to the will of the Force, I guess, would be...
Sure. So
probably a cop-out,
second, maybe, but the second part of my question is, if that's the case, why would they let her sort of suffer so badly? She sort of camped out in an AT-AT. She scrounges food by, going through Star Destroyers and stuff. It strikes me that they would find a way to subtly adjust her quality of life a little bit, rather than let her sort of struggle. Yeah, there'd be a bit more effort to sort of make sure she's okay, to kind of look after her to a certain standard. Having said that, she doesn't seem to me to be in particularly bad health when we see her.
No, she's pretty.
So maybe there is evidence of that we just haven't seen.
She's a pretty strong character.
Bread.
Yeah, with the lovely bubbly bread.
The bubbly bread is good for you.
Yeah, obviously, because it's green.
I'm sure, but it's 1/4 portion.
Well, yeah, 1/4 portion.
So it's not a lot of. It's not. I don't know how much it's supposed to feed you for, but we get the impression it's not enough to survive. It's barely enough to survive on.
Yeah, she's struggling to make ends meet, to be sure. But I think narratively speaking, there is echoes of Anakin's origin and echoes of Luke's origin with Rey's origin, and I don't think that they need to be a shared familial tie. I think that they could just be thematic ties. So Anakin lived a life of indentured servitude as a child slave.
Yep.
And he and his mother are impoverished.
Yeah.
And Luke led a life sort of under the thumb of his possessive, overprotective uncle, desperately wanted to get out and go to chase his horizon, but he never got to do that. So he was oppressed in a similar way. And I think what we're seeing with the way Rey lives her life is that thematically, I think she's living the similar life to Anakin and Luke, and that's what we're supposed to identify with. So if she was smuggled away like Leia and plopped down in in the lap of luxury with senators and royals, and
like a sore thumb.
She wouldn't like look at what we've seen. So the evidence is there. Luke's allowed to grow free range and becomes powerful in the Force. Leia is in the thick of it, in this secure lifestyle, and she's not as powerful in the Force.
That much is true. Yeah, I'll go with that.
The contradiction for me is that one part of me thinks that Kylo or another agent of the dark side slaughtered, Luke's Padawans and or younglings, and she might have been one or the other, and then they managed to whisk her away, and ever since he's been looking for a force sensitive girl, which is why he acts so strongly when the guy mentions a girl. However, if that is the truth, then why was he so shocked, Kylo Ren, so shocked when she exhibited force sensitivity when he was questioning her? So it's kind of, I don't really know whether he was actually there and in what guise he was, interested in a girl. If he must have known, if he's that interested in a girl, you can guarantee she's got something to do with the Force. So why was he shocked when she started pushing back, if you pardon the expression?
Yeah, maybe they expect to find somebody of just raw potential with no ability, and then they will lay in the ability through training. Maybe he was surprised at how powerful she was because he'd been led to believe she's a blank slate.
Yeah.
So do you think then it's possible that he actually was the one that slaughtered all the people in the same camp as him? He turned to the dark side, 6 years before, whatever it was, slaughtered everyone. They managed to whisk her away.
Well, that's what I thought originally, Steve. I'm not so sure now. I don't think that we need... Initially, I felt that Kylo would have killed all the Padawans to topple Luke's Jedi Academy, and then he would have... what I was acting on was that he would have whisked her away because there was perhaps a connection. If she was Luke's daughter, there would be a blood bond between them, and he would have hidden her away and thought, I'm going to come back later and she'll be my Sith apprentice. That's the way I was perceiving this. Now I don't think he needs to have any connection to Rey beyond the fact that he knows that there's another child of the Force out there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why Snoke wants Luke destroyed. The First Order will not stop until Luke is destroyed. That's what it says in the opening crawl. So if they want Luke gone, he is no threat now. Apart from the fact that if he gets to the Chosen One and trains her, she might rise up and topple whatever they are. If they're Sith, whatever they are, she becomes a real and present threat if Luke can give her the skill she needs to take him down.
It's interesting. I'm not sure about a lot of it, but I think you've woven the truth in and out of your. I think some of what you've said is true, and some of it probably isn't. But it's knowing which bits are and which bits aren't.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot that isn't true. Yeah.
No, but I think you've woven in and out of it. It's just hard to see what they're going to do. Hopefully, like we said many times, they're going to shock us all and go with something that we're not expecting, because that's what we really want. I know we theorize and dissect all the time, but none of us really want to be right.
We don't. That's what we said.
We want to be shocked.
We've said that all along. This is fun to me. This having these theories and looking at it and learning the Star Wars storytelling style, so that I can try and see the beats as they're playing out. I love this stuff. I really find it enjoyable to sort of say, well, I think that might be where that's going, because some of it doesn't make sense to me. A lot of, she's Luke's daughter and Luke left her on Jakku. Why the hell would he do that? If she is a valuable resource, why is he going to hide for a start? Why would he leave Rey on Jakku and then run away and hide? That makes no sense.
We don't believe the Luke thing. We've come to... I always thought it was Obi-Wan, and you quite rightly gave me the math, because I thought granddaughter, but then you quite rightly said no, great-granddaughter, which I'm in total agreement with. I think that makes complete sense. It smacks as to why you heard Obi-Wan say Rey in the Force vision.
Yeah.
To me, it makes perfect logical sense, and they're already kind of driven down that path. So I think it's a no-brainer, really.
So you're
the
going,
Obi-Wan.
your money's on the Obi-Wan granddaughter thing.
Yeah, I really do. I think it makes complete sense. Everyone's expecting Luke. It's a perfect way to, and why would Obi-Wan say Rey if he's, there's nothing to do? He wouldn't, would he? He's not.
Well,
I
but then
thought about that.
that's
Sorry,
like saying that. So it's fine. It's like saying that Yoda could be her grandfather as well because he's in the vision. It's about the Fourth Vision, isn't it? I mean, Obi-Wan's in it more than Yoda, but not by much. They're both talking in there, and actually Luke, I think, talks in there as well. Although he's just sort of
Obi-Wan actually says Rey, though, doesn't he?
He does.
He does,
and
yeah.
I did think about that, and I thought, why would these characters connect with Rey? And then it seemed to, I could spin it, I guess. It seemed logical to me, but I can put a spin on it so that it serves my theory here by saying that each of those characters have been taught by Qui-Gon how to become one with the living force.
Yep.
Because he returns in the Clone Wars cartoon, he returns and gives Yoda the knowledge he needs. And then in episode 3, Yoda says to Obi-Wan, I'm going to give you the skills you need so you can connect with Qui-Gon. And then they will all be able to live past death and still service the needs of the Force. Now, if Rey is a child of the Force, or doesn't it make sense if she's a child of the Force that she would connect to those people that have become one with the living Force? If their sentience exists beyond death, they'd be the ones to connect with her.
I think it always did. I think this is the kind of the religious overtones of Star Wars. Yeah. They always lived. Jedi's always live past death. What Yoda and Qui-Gon before him have the ability to do is to bridge that gap.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And
well,
whereas go on. Sorry, Rob.
No, it's fine. Carry on.
No, well, that's kind of it. I think they were always there, but now they've found a way of communing with them.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nod to, I guess, our earthly religions and our belief in the afterlife and stuff within the Star Wars framework. That's where I always saw it.
Yeah.
With the Force being the supernatural bit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's worth sort of keeping in mind that even as far back as Episode 4, Obi-Wan knows that as soon as his body is killed, he's going to become more than some of his parts, because he says, if you strike me down, I should become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, so he already knows. Yeah,
he knows there's knowledge. One, he knows there's life beyond death, and he also knows that he has knowledge that Anakin doesn't. Exactly. Because he says, I become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Exactly. Meaning that he could take his knowledge and give it to someone else.
Yeah, but then
the
fact that he can say that with kind of confidence suggests to me he knows exactly how this stuff works, and he's confident that Vader has never learned this because he didn't learn it from Obi-Wan, and I'm guessing he doesn't think that Vader's done a lot of learning after the events of Episode 3, and I think he's probably right.
And Anakin's outlook has always been very much more aligned with the Sith point of view, which is, this is the only life I've got, this corporeal life that I'm leading, so I need to get as much of this down me as I can right now. So he's all about living for now. If Anakin had been taught a little bit more about the living force, if he'd been trained by Qui-Gon, he might have not been so attached to Padme and thought, I don't have to worry about losing her because we will still be together in the Force after death. So that it would have changed his outlook completely. But that selfish and jealous attitude that Anakin had grew out of his more Sith-like tendencies. But he does become a Force ghost by the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Because he's a child of the Force. He doesn't have to learn the skill set that Obi-Wan and Yoda needed to learn, because he naturally became one with the Force because he is the chosen one. So all of Rey, if Rey is a chosen one, it would explain why all of this stuff comes natural to her and why she's connecting with these Force ghosts in a vision, why she's having a vision in the first place.
Yeah. Here's a question then: are we going to see Anakin talk to her in Episode 8? Vision to if your theory holds water and they're both children of the Force, are they going to just be able to communicate like that?
Yeah, I mean that'd be
pretty cool.
This is the real thing, and when I come back to what Rian Johnson has said about Episode 8 being dark and weird, or somebody said that about Rian Johnson's about being dark and weird. It would be very interesting. It's interesting that Anakin doesn't say anything in Rey's Force vision. It would be very interesting to see what form Anakin's post-death existence takes,
Yeah.
because I'm sure that Luke's been communing with everybody on Act
Yep.
2 whilst he's been alone. If Anakin's one of them, then
Yeah.
it seems fitting to me that perhaps she will have some contact with him.
So one thing that'd be really cool is if they brought back the idea that was being tossed around for Episode 7, which is that there would be an Anakin Force ghost that would be part Vader and part Anakin,
and he would shift.
If that was because we've theorized about how the sort of theme of the trilogy might be trying to protect Rey from the dark side, because she might be she might slip because she already has seen signs of slipping.
Yes.
What if what if she has an interaction with Anakin where he's trying to steer her away from that, and as he's getting sort of angry, he's frustrated with her stubbornness or whatever, then he might sort of shift into Vader.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
it might be designed to frighten her.
Cool. Yeah, that's brilliant.
That'd be cool,
I
wouldn't
hadn't thought about that. That's quite chilling, actually. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. If it's going to be dark and weird, that's a great way of doing it.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
I'm trying to think. I've seen a film where somebody's face does something similar, where it's kind of moving at an unnatural speed, and it's really freaky. Where somebody's in the sort of like a ghostly kind of form, and their face is sort of moving at unnatural speeds, like it cuts to different angles too quickly, and it moves around a lot and stuff. And it's really frequent that they do that sort of stuff right. So that could be really cool for a kind of weird, surreal,
I like that.
dark sort of, like you say, chilling moment.
Yeah, very chilling.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not Obi-Wan that Luke talks to. Maybe it is that Anakin or Vader in the
Maybe.
first. I've got this thing where I'm sure
both.
he does commune. And I also believe there's a hell of a lot more Han in the next film, flashbacks they've already recorded.
I'd love to see, as an aside, a kind of not to this degree, but almost like a sort of odd couple relationship with the ghosts of Anakin and Obi-Wan, where they're both kind of they've still got that kind of
Bickering.
They've picked up where they left off, where they're kind of banter and the bickering, where they're sort of passive aggressive to each other, which is always has some good comedy moments in the prequels.
Yeah,
I wonder if they might pick that back up if they both appear. That'd be kind of cool.
that would be interesting.
Yeah. And even in the absence of a human, maybe like the human leaves the scene and they carry on bickering or messing
Yeah,
around.
totally.
Yeah.
Why do you need a human there at all?
Or
long
the
as
kind
they
of
don't-
the last shot of a scene is them just fading out, kind of arguing with each other or something.
As long as they don't lean too heavily on that stuff, and we don't get like the Three Stooges type. That would be.
Yeah.
That would be very weird.
Well, if Anakin walks onto set carrying a big plank, then we know what's up.
Yeah. One last thing I will say about this Rey thing is that in an ideal world, I'd imagine Luke would find the Chosen One and then train the Chosen One the ways of the light side so that balance is kind of restored. And obviously Snoke and Kylo would be falling over each other trying to get to her to fill her with the dark side, and then, we're doomed. But the biggest Achilles heel I think she's going to have is what we've already seen play out in Anakin's story, and we've already seen play out in Luke's story, which is her attachment to other people. As a much older student, she has already formed attachments. And if Rey and Poe and Leia are put at risk, is she going to abandon her teaching the way Luke did?
Finn? You mean Finn, Poe, and Leia?
What? Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Finn.
Said Rey.
Poe,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just checking.
Because that would be dark and weird.
That would be weird.
Finn,
I've got to go and save myself.
Finn. If Finn, Poe, and Leia are put at risk, will she abandon her teaching the way Luke did from Dagobah to get to Bespin?
I was just thinking about this, right? On a similar note, what if during their training they are interrupted, but not by her rushing off, but by the First Order finding them prematurely, and she has to fight before she's ready? And it's not that she's going off and being impetuous. It's that she doesn't have a choice. She fights or she dies. That could be cool. It would have a similar theme, but it would be just different enough to not be not retread.
Yeah, be a nice opportunity for Snoke to sort of get the upper hand there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that because it's a trilogy, we're expecting Episode 8 to have a darker tone. So maybe he comes out of the battle a bit better off.
Yeah. No.
Who knows?
Well, there you go. Oh, well, that's my new Rey theory.
I like it.
As with all of them, I'm not married to it, but a lot of it seems to add up to me. I think,
like we said, we're just as happy to be wrong as right.
Well, I'd rather be wrong. I want to be surprised when I sit and watch these things.
Even better.
Anyway, well, that's it. That's our first little special, I suppose. I'll put it out as an After Dark, but it'll be our Rey special.
Okay.
Okay.
Very special.
Thanks, everyone. Links in the description to this show so you can go and find all the other things that we do. And we will be back with a regular show next week.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, then.
Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.